the Karakoram Highway. A ribbon of asphalt draped across the roof of the world. A scar carved into the face of giants. It beckoned with promises of breathtaking vistas and ancient cultures. But beneath the beauty, danger breathed. The mountains held their breath, waiting. Landslides and snowstorms were common. Whispers of something older, something darker, clung to the twisting road. 4 friends stood at the precipice of adventure. Sarah, the pragmatic one, mapped their route. David, the joker, snapped photos of the ominous clouds gathering above. Maria, the quiet observer, felt a shiver crawl down her spine. And John, the leader, grinned, his eyes alight with excitement. They were prepared for the challenges of the road. They were not prepared for the terror that awaited. The storm hit without warning. One moment, sunshine bathed the peaks in golden light. The next, a wall of white descended, swallowing the world in a fury of snow and wind. The Jeep skidded, tires losing their grip on the slick asphalt. Visibility dropped to mere feet. Panic, cold and sharp, pierced through the initial thrill of the adventure. The mountains were no longer beautiful. They were a hungry beast, and the travelers were caught in its jaws. The wind howled, a mournful cry that echoed through the valleys. But beneath the wind's rage, something else whispered. A name, repeated over and over. Softly at first, then growing louder, more insistent. Sarah swore she saw a figure flitting at the edge of the headlights, a fleeting shadow gone as quickly as it appeared. David's usual humor evaporated, replaced by a nervous sweat. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. The Jeep, battered and weary, sputtered to a stop. The engine's final cough echoed through the silent forest, a stark reminder of their isolation. Snowflakes danced in the air, settling on the vehicle's hood, as if nature itself was trying to bury their last hope of escape. Engine dead. They were stranded. The realization hit them like a cold wave, seeping into their bones. The forest, once a picturesque winter wonderland, now felt like a prison, its towering trees closing in on them. The storm raged on, a blinding, deafening assault. The wind howled like a wild beast, its icy breath cutting through their layers of clothing. Visibility was reduced to mere inches, the world beyond a swirling vortex of white chaos. The travelers huddled together for warmth, their fear a living thing in the suffocating darkness. Each breath was a cloud of mist, a fleeting sign of life in the oppressive cold. They clung to each other, seeking solace in shared body heat, but their minds were miles apart, each grappling with their own terror. Eyes seemed to watch them from the swirling snow. Shadows moved at the edge of their vision, elusive and menacing. Every rustle, every creak of the trees felt like a prelude to something sinister. Unblinking, hungry. The eyes were not just watching. They were waiting, predatory. The forest was alive with unseen dangers, and the travelers were the prey. Maria felt a cold hand brush against her cheek. She spun around, heart pounding, but there was nothing there, just the relentless snow and the oppressive darkness. Her mind raced, trying to make sense of the sensation, but all she found was fear. A scream caught in her throat. She wanted to cry out, to warn the others, but the words wouldn't come. The terror was paralyzing, a vice around her chest, squeezing the air from her lungs. John tried to rationalize their fear. He told himself it was just the wind, the cold, the isolation playing tricks on their minds. But deep down, he knew there was something more, something real, something dangerous. The wind, the isolation, it was playing tricks on their minds. But the feeling of being watched, the sense of impending doom, was too strong to ignore. The forest was a living entity, and it had its eyes set on them. But deep down, he felt it too. The undeniable presence of something lurking in the shadows. The forest was not just a backdrop, it was a character in their story, a malevolent force that watched and waited. The chilling certainty that they were not alone. The eyes in the darkness were real, and they were closing in. The travelers' only hope was to stay together, to keep moving, and to pray that dawn would bring salvation. Time lost all meaning. The days and nights blended into an endless cycle of cold and despair. Each second felt like an eternity as the storm raged on. Days and nights bled together, the sun and moon mere ghosts behind the thick veil of snow. They clung to each other for warmth, their bodies shivering uncontrollably. Marked only by the relentless fury of the storm, the wind howled like a beast, biting at their exposed skin and making every breath a struggle. They were running out of time, out of hope. Each glance exchanged was filled with unspoken fears and the haunting realization that their chances of survival were dwindling. The whispers grew stronger, merging with the wind, taunting them with promises of warmth and safety that seemed forever out of reach. The storm was not just a physical battle, but a mental one as well. Their supplies dwindled. Each meal was a painful reminder of their dire situation, the rations growing smaller and smaller as the days dragged on. Their sanity frayed. The isolation and unending cold gnawed at their minds, making every decision feel like a monumental task. Paranoia set in, and trust began to erode. John, his leadership tested like never before, tried to keep the group together. His determination was a beacon of hope, but even he felt the weight of their predicament, clung to the last vestiges of hope. Every step forward was a victory, every moment of rest a brief respite from the unending struggle. They had to keep moving. Stopping meant certain death, and so they pushed on, driven by the primal instinct to survive. Had to escape this frozen hell. Each fall was met with a struggle to rise again, their bodies screaming for rest, but their minds refusing to give in. But the mountain held them captive, its icy grip tightening with every passing hour. The peaks loomed above them, indifferent to their suffering, its grip tightening with every passing hour. Time was their enemy, and the storm showed no signs of relenting. They were trapped in a battle against nature itself. They found the Jeep buried in the snow, a stark reminder of the harshness of nature's fury. The vehicle, once a symbol of adventure and freedom, now lay dormant, a silent testament to their ordeal. The storm had come without warning, a ferocious blizzard that swallowed everything in its path. The once familiar landscape was transformed into an alien world of white, where every direction looked the same, and hope seemed to fade with each passing hour. The storm had vanished as quickly as it arrived, leaving behind a world bathed in the eerie silence of fresh snow. The sky, now clear and blue, seemed almost mocking in its tranquility, as if the chaos of the storm had been nothing but a bad dream. The landscape was pristine, untouched, and yet it held the echoes of their struggle. Every snow-covered tree, every drift of snow was a reminder of the battle they had fought against the elements. The silence was deafening, a stark contrast to the howling winds that had raged just hours before. Rescue came, drawn by their flares. The sight of the helicopter was a beacon of hope, cutting through the desolation. The rescue workers, with their warm hands and reassuring voices, were like angels descending from the heavens. They returned, forever changed, haunted by the memory of the whispers, the shadows, the feeling of eyes boring into their souls. The ordeal had left an indelible mark on their psyche, a scar that would never fully heal. The mountains had tested them in ways they could never have imagined. The feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes following their every move, was something they couldn't shake off. It was as if the mountains themselves were alive, sentient beings that had judged them and found them wanting. The mountains had tested them, pushed them to the very brink of madness and back. They had faced their deepest fears, their darkest thoughts, and had come out the other side. They had survived, but some wounds, the ones carved deep within, never truly heal. The relief of being rescued was palpable, but it was tinged with a sense of loss. They had lost a part of themselves in those mountains, a part that they would never get back. The experience had changed them, had reshaped their very souls. The ones carved deep within never truly heal. They would carry the scars of this ordeal for the rest of their lives, a constant reminder of the fragility of human existence and the unforgiving nature of the world around them.